Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to my evening news report right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. Class action lawsuit against New Hampshire's state-run youth detention center claims years of abuse. Hundreds of claims, decades of abuse by 150 New Hampshire Youth Detention Center staffers. 150 staffers accused of physically or sexually harming 230 children at facility. Abuse allegations against New Hampshire state-run youth detention center now spans 6 decades, with 150 staffers during that time accused of physically or sexually harming 230 children at the facility. The victims' attorneys call for a magnet for predators. Russ Riley sued the state in January of 2020 on behalf of 3 dozen adults who allegedly they were abused as children at the Youth Development Center in Manchester between 1982 and 2014. He now represents 230 clients who say they were abused between 1963 and 2018 when they were ages 7 to 18. As the number of years, accusers and alleged perpetrators has swelled, so too has the sickening nature of the allegations. While details beyond the updated number of accusers and time span aren't included in the latest court documents, Riley plans to add his clients' accounts to the complaint and describe them to the Associated Press. Of the 150 accused staffers, more than half are accused of sexual abuse, Riley said. Children were ganged raped by counselors, beaten while being raped, and forced to sexually abuse each other, he said. Some ended up with sexually transmitted diseases. One ended up pregnant. Staff members choked children, beat them unconscious, and burned them with cigarettes and broke their bones, Riley said. Counselors set up a fight clubs and forced kids to compete for food. Children were locked in solitary confinement for weeks or months, sometimes slapped or stripped naked to their beds, kept away from classrooms while their injuries healed. Some can't read or write today, he said. These broken, shattered children were then unleashed into society with no education, no life skills, and no ability to meaningful function, said Riley. The Manchester facility, now called the Sununu Youth Service Center, after former Governor John H. Sununu, serves children ordered to a secure institutional setting by the juvenile justice system. The average population last year was just 17 residents, overseen by about 90 employees through it once housed upwards of 100 youth and employed a large staff. Joe Ribson, director of the State Division for Children, Youth, and Families, said the agency continues to cooperate with a broad criminal investigation into the center launched by the Attorney General's office in 2019. He did not comment on the new allegations. The facility's policy and system that protects the youth receiving care, including full compliancy with the Prison Rape Elimination Act and security cameras throughout the facility to provide additional sets of eyes on staff and students. Instructions, Ribsy said in a written statement. It's unclear how far up the chain of command knowledge of the alleged abuse traveled over the years, but the lawsuit alleges that some supervisors were themselves abusers and that other staffers looked the other way. The systematic governmental child abuse that occurred was allowed to occur because there wasn't significant oversight, and the state was institutionally neglected in their hiring, training, supervision, and retention policy, Riley said. It's pretty clear to me that this facility was a magnet for predators. Riley said most of his clients have spoken to state police as part of a criminal investigation, including one man who spent 2 years at the facility in the late 2000s. The man alleges that he was sexually assaulted by 2 staffers more than half a dozen times, was beaten by 6 staff members at once, and often locked in his room for weeks at a time. Now 28, he said he has been in and out of the criminal justice system most of his life and has struggled with depression, strained relationships, and a rough sense of socially acceptable behavior. The kids that don't have it good in there, we don't come out good, he said. It takes a part of you, the worthlessness you feel afterwards. I am good enough for people. I am good enough for myself. Another man, now 29, spent more than a year at the center, starting in 2007. He alleges he was beaten several times and sexually assaulted by 3 different staff members dozens of times, including a sexual assault that he says was recorded on a predator's cell phone. After years of substance abuse, he has been clean for 7 months, but nightmares and other PTSD symptoms continue. I relieve it a lot every night, every other night. It never stops, he said. Neither of them have any records of their time at the center, though they said they have requested them and gave state police officers who interviewed them permission to do so. The Associated Press does not typically name people who say they have been victims of sexual assault unless they go public, like the lawsuits-led plaintiff David Meehan. Meehan, 39, went to police in 2017 with allegations of abuse from the 1990s. In July of 2019, 2 of his former counselors were charged with 82 counts of rape, and the Attorney General's office launched a broader criminal investigation into the center's operation and employees from 1990 to 2000. Those charges were dropped last March when the office announced it was devoting an unprecedented location of resource to an expanded investigation, including assessing 10 state police troopers to a task force. Meanwhile, the state has been granted several extensions in responding to the lawsuit, and as recently as January said in court documents that the partisans were in discussion aimed at narrowing or resolving the matter in issue in this case. But earlier this year, the state filed a motion to dismiss the case in part because it said the case doesn't meet the criteria for a class action lawsuit. The Attorney General's office declined to comment on the new allegation or the lawsuit. There were dedicated prosecutors in the Attorney General's office as well as investigators from New Hampshire State Police who are working daily on this investigation. Acting Attorney General Jane Young said in a written statement, "The investigation will follow the evidence whenever it leads." In a recent interview, Meehan said he has been frustrated by the pace of the legal process, but understands it will take time. He said he has grown stronger every day, in part because he has inspired others to come forward, including the two who spoke to the AP. It's heartwarming in a way to know that I helped these other people find strength to be able to speak the truth about their experience, he said. But at the same time, it hurts in a way that I can't explain, knowing that so many other people were exposed to the same types of things that I was. Meehan said he has no regrets about speaking out. "I cannot allow the abuse that I endured to be what destroys my life anymore," he said. And that does it for this evening news report right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another news report. Good night and goodbye, everyone.